Hello my fellow human beings and bots having clicked on this video. This is my first video about the upcoming Polkadot Parachain Slot Auctions. And as you can see, my following analysis will be about the project Acala. But before I show you the Excel model and my analysis, I'll quickly point out that this video is not financial advice and you should always do your own research before investing into anything. And now let's switch to the Excel model. Here you can see the model. Don't worry, it's a big model, but I will go through every detail step by step so that anyone can understand it. But as you can maybe already see here, I will analyze all the upcoming projects in this first auction batch. And yeah, let's just start with Acala. But before I start, let me quickly point out to you that the auctions will officially start on the 11th of November this year. But for some of the projects, you can already start early contributing through parallel finance. And this is actually a very good thing to do because parallel finance gives extra rewards, and also the projects give extra rewards if you contribute early to them. And if you use my referral link in the description below, you can get even more rewards, which is great. But let's start with Akala. So, the sister project to Akala was Karura. So, I don't know if you know, but Karura was actually the first project that won a parachain on the Kusama Parachain Slot Auctions. And it's always good to know which projects belong together because from that you can get a lot of insight on how the respective sister project here on Polkadot will perform. Okay, but let's just start, and we will look at the fundamentals to get a quick overview. What is the project doing, and all that stuff. So Akala, like Karura, is a DeFi hub, and their value proposal is that they are an Ethereum compatible platform. They having automated market makers. They will issue multi-collateralized stablecoins, and also they will have a trustless staking derivative called Liquid.dot. So that's what they bring to the table. Is in my opinion a pretty standard DeFi hub, but we all know DeFi is a valuable application of blockchain and cryptocurrencies. And continuing, we will look at how many grants did this project receive by the Web3 Foundation. So the Web3 Foundation is the foundation that stands behind Polkadot and Kusama, and this project has received 3 grants from them. So, well, they got some money to develop something, and it's always a good sign if a project has received a lot of grants, because that basically means that the project is valuable to the Polkadot ecosystem. And also, we will take a look at how many big investors, how many hedge funds or crypto capital firms have invested into the project. And for Acala, this is actually the projects where the most big investors have invested in, so 32 all together. If that's a good thing or not, well, it's depends. So, firstly, it's a good thing that projects have a lot of institutional support behind them. But if they have too many big investors, this could also lead to a high selling pressure of the price if those investors want to cash out their investments. And I think probably, like most of them, they will not hodl forever, you know. At some point, they will cash out some of their money, all of their money, and will use it to invest in other upcoming projects. So if there is a high share of investors, this might actually lead to a high price pressure after the project's token has launched. And well, coming to the project's token, I categorize this as the phenomics, so the finance and economics of the project. For Acala, the token is the ACA token, and it has a maximum supply of 1 billion, and it is a deflationary token. So that's just well, it's important, because if a token is deflationary, the maximum supply will reduce over the years, and the token will become more valuable. And it's also important to look at the allocation of this token supply. So we can see that Akala, the project, is allocating 17% of the supply of 1 billion to the Parachain Slot Auctions. And yeah, you can compare that with the other projects. I can tell you that 17% is good. It's not like not allocating like the highest supply of all, the highest percentage of all, but it's decent, so to say. Then it's always good to look at how much of the supply is belonging to the team. And usually this is between 5 and like 20%. So Akala here is a bit on the upper end of the spectrum. Is that good or bad? Well, also depends. So I think a 20% allocation of tokens to the team, it is a lot. It's more than most other projects, but it's like not too much yet. So if you have projects where there's like 30 or 40% allocation to the team, yeah, that then this might what might that say about the project? So probably that the team wants to cash out big time if they have so much token for themselves. But yeah, 20% is fine. Could be a bit less, but that's okay. Then it's important to look at how many percent of maximum supply do investors receive, and this is like actually very important. So because here you can see how much selling pressure will be on the token, but this always depends on how the vesting schedule of the investors are. So most of them, I mean almost none of the vesting schedules are okay. They can sell their token immediately after the token generation event. There's some kind of schedule, and if you want to go into detail there, watch out how much percentage of the investors' investment they can sell at the token generation event, because that will be most of the selling pressure once the token is officially trading. So all in all, Akala has allocated 30% of their supply to investors, which is fine. It's like in the average. It should not be like more than 30%. But as we have seen, Akala has a lot of investors, so it's just quite logical that they also have allocated a high percentage of their supply to investors. Then it's important to look at how much of the supply have they reserved for liquidity programs. So to keep incentivizing people to use their projects, usually they will distribute this supply via staking rewards or some kind of other rewards that you get when you interact with their project on their platform. And I have to say, 13% is, in my opinion, not that much, but also it's fine. It's not out of the boundaries, so to say. And then lastly, it's important to evaluate how much does the project allocate to further research, development, also marketing and all that stuff. So um, yeah, so 20%, that's is a good share here. And well, just for easy understanding, it's good for you if this number is bigger. It's good for you if this number is medium. It's good for you if that number is smaller. It's good for you if that number is bigger, and it's good for you if that number is also very big, or that percentage share, to be correct here. All in all, if we look at the allocation of Akala, it's decent, but I would have wished that they allocate actually quite a big chunk to the Parachain rewards, but I'm a bit worried about the huge allocation to investors here. But as I said before, here it is really all about the vesting schedule of the investors that can give you insight on how much will be the selling pressure after the token starts. But now let's look at the rewards that Akala is distributing at this first batch of auctions. So the minimum rewards is 3.4 Akala tokens. Here on the left side, you can see what that is, what I expect it to be the minimum value in US dollars, and what I expect that to be the maximum value of US dollars. And this down here you can see my price expectation for when the token starts to trade. I have a low, average, and the maximum expectation that I have come to, and here I just multiply the lowest expectation times the rewards you get, and then you see. So if the project really performs bad, which I don't think, then you will get as a minimum of your contribution of $1 around $10 in a color token if you get the minimum allocation per dot. This would be $27 if we have the most favorable price and the minimum allocation. But it's more important to look at the expected allocation, because this is just a minimum, and this expected allocation is a bit more tricky to come to, because actually you will only know the real allocation this project gives to investors after the slot chain auctions have finished, because we have to understand that the project is allocating 17% of their maximum supply to all the dots staked for this project. So if there are only a few dots staked on this project, then the allocation will be higher. If there are a lot of dots staked for this project, then the allocation will be lower, because you will have to divide the allocation that you get, so the 17%, by all the dots that are staked to get the allocation of Akala tokens that you will get for one dot. So here I evaluated this at 4.3 tokens that you can expect for Akala. How do I get this number? I will tell you in a second, but again, you can see that will be in the worst case scenario, will that be $13 for one dot, which is currently trading about $50. And at a maximum, at the most positive scenario, this will equal to $35 per dot you stake. Yes, so let's just take a look at how I come to the expected allocation per dot. Alright, so to evaluate the allocation of ACA tokens, you can expect when contributing to the project, you need to find out how many dots will be contributed to the project overall. And I tried to analyze this with this table here. It's quite a long table, but don't worry, we'll go through everything step by step. And well, we just start here. So we're still at the project of Akala. And the first thing we research is what is the hard cap in DOT that can be staked to this project. So this will be 50 million dots. So all in all, there are only 50 million dots can be contributed to this project, not more than that. So this is the maximum amount of dots that can be contributed to this project, and this is important to know because if this number is reached, you will receive the lowest allocation possible. This is what I had here. This is the minimum allocation. If this one is reached, you will receive the minimum. But now the question is, will that hard cap be reached? And if not, how many dots will be staked so that you can derive the expected allocation out of this? And for that, I thought, okay, first of all, it would make sense to look at it in dollar values. So how much actual value would need to be logged for this project in order to reach the hard cap? And that would be $2.5 billion. This is really quite a lot, and I don't think that this project will reach its hard cap. If we look at it in terms of percentage of market cap of Polkadot, we see that 5% of all dots currently in circulating supply need to be allocated to this project, and this is a really high percentage. And again, I don't think that they will reach the hard cap, but I might be wrong. But also to note here is, does it make sense to look at this in terms of percentage of market cap? And I would say not quite, because you need to remember that a lot of dots are actually in staking. So, and these dots that are here in staking, they cannot be used for the Parachain Slot Auctions. So basically, you need to find out what is the supply available for the auction. I just call this SAFA, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, and you just deduct the staked dot from the market cap, and then you have the supply available for the auction. So if we just look at this percentage-wise, so if Akala will reach the hard cap, how much of the supply available for the auction will need to be contributed? That will be 14%. This is also a very high number, but usually it makes sense that this is a high number because this is just the hard cap. That's the maximum where they say, okay, we got enough dot, that's enough. But basically, every project wants to get as much dot as possible. So it's these hard caps. I don't think that many of them will be reached. If we look at the Kusama Parachain Slot Auctions, there was actually Akala reached the hard cap in the Karura, in the Kusama auctions, but come to that in a second. Another thing you can do is look at the sister project in the Kusama auctions. So for Akala, this was Karura, and in a dollar value, they raised about 220 million, and that is a lot for it. That was really a lot, and they reached their hard cap in the Kusama Parachain auctions. And if we say, okay, Akala will be at least as successful as Karura in this auction, and they will reach at least 220 million, that would mean that they would that 9% of the supply available for the auction with the Polkadot Parachain Slot Auctions will be allocated to Karura, to Akala, sorry. And I think this is something that is reasonable, definitely. But let's go further. Now we are trying to evaluate how much funds can we expect to be raised in dollar value for these auctions. And for that, I evaluated a factor here. And this factor is derived from the factor of Kusama to Polkadot. So the logic behind this is that we say, okay, Kusama has a market cap of this, and Polkadot has a market cap of that. So DOT is 12.8 times bigger than Kusama. And if we apply this logic, we could say, okay, maybe the projects in these upcoming slot auctions will also raise 12.8 times more than they raised in the respective Kusama Parachain Slot Auctions. Well, I evaluated this and I said, okay, well, I don't think every project will will be 12 times as big as in the Kusama slot chain auction. So I was working with a factor here. So I say, okay, for Akala, as this project has a lot of institutional backing and they have a good, I say they have a good sentiment on Twitter, and all in all, I would say, okay, they'll maybe make 10 times of what they did in the Kusama slot chain auction. So I applied the factor 10 here. That means that for the funds that I expect that Akala will raise this time in dollars will be what they raised in the Kusama slot chain auctions times the factor of 10, and that will be 2.2 billion if I'm not wrong, and well, that is a lot. And if we compare it to the 2.5 billion of their hard cap, we can see that they will, in my opinion, reach about 88% of their hard cap. In DOT, that would be 44 million DOT, and that would mean that Akala will 4.4% of all the dots in supply will be contributed to Akala. But again, as I said, looking at the whole market cap might not be the smartest thing to do, and we rather look at the supply that's actually available for the auctions. That would mean that about 11, or so let's say 12% of dots that are currently available will be allocated to Akala. And in my experience, in my opinion, I think this is totally possible. As they have a lot of institutional backing, they will get a lot of dots in their auction. And also, if we look at the sister project Carrera, they were the only ones who really reached the hard cap in the Parachain slot auctions for Kusama. So I guess this time they will again get a lot of dots allocated. So now to the interesting thing. So how many rewards can I expect? So they will distribute 170 million of ACA tokens, yeah. And if you just divide this by the dots that will be raised in this auction, you'll get the expected supply, which will be 3.86. And coming back to the model, we apply a factor of 12% here because they have special incentives, special rewards. So if you contribute early, you get whatever, 5-10%. But all in all, you can, if you take all the rewards you can get 12% of additional rewards. So I took the 3.86 and multiplied this by 1.12. So I'm expecting that every one of you, if they want to back this project, will take all the special rewards. And for that, some of the special rewards, they are time sensitive. So some of the rewards you only get if you contribute before a specific date. And this is why I told you before, you can already start contributing at Parallel Finance. And if you use my referral link, you and I will both get additional percentage. But they are included here. So I'm guessing everyone is using a referral link. And then you will get 12% of the rewards. So I take the calculated expected distribution times 12%, and so all in all, I expect that if you back this project, you will get about 4.3 ACA tokens. Again, looking at that, what will in the worst case scenario be the dollar value of that? $13. What will be in the best case scenario be the dollar value of that? $35. For one dot, currently trading at around $50. Further, it is important to look at the vesting. So how much of these tokens can you claim immediately, and how long do you have to wait for the rest of your rewards? And for Akala, you can claim 20% immediately, and the rest is vested in a linear manner. So every day, every second, you get the corresponding amount of ACA tokens credited to your account, or however they will do it. It's important to know here if you can claim a lot of tokens immediately, and 20% is is a medium number here, then that also means that if the token starts trading, a lot of people will probably take their gains and sell it. So if the vesting would be like 50% immediately, you could expect that the the value of the ACA token will fall after the token generation event, because a lot of people have a lot of money they can claim, and some of them will probably do that, and this amounts to a higher selling pressure at the beginning. So here for the vesting, for the token price, it is most beneficial if the whole amount of your rewards is vested linear and not that much at the beginning. But if you come from the other way around and you say, okay, well, I don't want to wait 2 years to get all my tokens. I want a lot of them now to cash out and do something else with my funds. Then you're looking for projects that will give you a lot or a higher percentage of their tokens at the beginning. So, and also all the projects, they have some special incentives that they distribute to further get users to contribute to them. And for Akala, this will be if you get all of the incentives of the special rewards, you will get additional 12% plus an NFT. So this is also should also think about that. You want the NFT, you want the 12%. You want more rewards, use the referral link in the description and get, I don't know, I think it's 5% for each of us that will get on their contribution to Akala. And then what we're also looking at is a failure compensation. So what is if Akala does not win a slot chain auction, parachain? Then that would mean that you bonded your funds for them for the duration of the auction, which is from the 11th to the 16th of December. And for that time, your funds are locked, and if you say, okay, if they lose, my funds are locked, I will get them back. So in this time, I could have used them for staking. That's why some projects, Akala not, will give you a failure compensation. Let's say if we don't win, you get a very small amount that mostly corresponds to the amount you would have gotten if you have staked DOT for the duration of the auction. But Akala is probably pretty sure that they will win a slot, and they will win one. I mean, this is no doubt. So they have no failure compensation, but this should not be a problem here. This is more interesting if you are backing projects that are not so, where it's not quite sure if they win a slot. Then you would look at, do they have a failure compensation, so that you at least get some reward if you back them, and they do not get the slot. Okay, continuing with the price analysis. Now this is where it gets interesting, but first of all, we need to now continuing with the price analysis. So for that, I will look at a few factors here. So the expected market cap in dollars, the market cap of the sister project in dollars, the expected circulating supply, the maximum supply, and then some reward ratios, and lastly the price expectation, low, medium, high. But let's start on the top here. First of all, the first important factor is what market cap can you expect? Because if you divide the market cap that you can expect by the supply that you expect to be in circulation, you will get the price of one token, which is basically that here. So how do I evaluate the expected market cap? And for that, I will use the expected reward distribution here, and I will multiply the market cap of the sister project with the factor that I used here. And as you remember, we said that Kusama is, or let's say Polkadot is 12 times as big as Kusama, and we applied the logic that the projects will be around anything between, let's say, 5 to 12 times as big as their sister projects. And that's what I did here. So I took the factor of 10 and multiplied it with the market cap of the sister project, which you can just get on CoinGecko or wherever you get your information. You can just check what is the market cap, and then this would amount to a market cap for Akala of 1.4 billion, which I think is reasonable, definitely. And then I also already told you it is not suitable to look at the maximum supply of tokens, but rather at the expected circulating supply, because the maximum supply will not be reached until some years or many years in the future. It's important to know how many tokens are trading now, or let's say at the token generation event, 1 year from that, 2 years from that, so that you know how much your token will be valuable then. And I expect the circulating supply to be 25% of their maximum supply. You can also derive that if you look at the sister token. You check, okay, how much supply is available there in percent, and you apply that to the Acala token, because the token and the sister project, they will mostly perform relatively similar. Okay, so we have all of these values here, and now it is now we say, okay, we look at the ratio of the circulating supply with the minimum allocation and with the maximum allocation. And well, this one only makes sense in comparison, so in the future videos you will see how this ratio is for the other projects that I evaluate here. And then you can say, okay, do you get a lot of tokens in relationship to the circulating supply or not? And this will heavily influence or the price of your the total price of your rewards. And lastly, we look at the price expectation. So for the lowest expectation, I would say, okay, maybe the lowest is that the ACA token will trade as $3. For that we go back here. So what would that mean in terms of market cap? If really the worst outcome scenario here would be that the project will have a market cap of $750 million, which is still a lot, and that would at current prices rank it at the around spot 128 of all tokens. So there will be the 128th biggest project if they had the worst outcome here. But you need to remember that as you will get the tokens as in the future, you will not get them now. So I think you can expect them about like for maybe 2 to 6 months after the slot is won. And by then you need to remember that in the future probably the overall all the market caps in crypto will be higher, because in a half year I'm guessing that there will be more dollars allocated there, or maybe if they could be less, then this would mean that this would be the worst outcome scenario, but let's just say I don't think that will happen. So that would coming back again. So in the worst case scenario, this will be at rank 128 of the market cap, which is doable. And in the best case scenario, we multiply the $8 with the circulating supply. We come to a market cap of 2 billion, which would make this project rank number 73 of the biggest coins and tokens currently around. And yeah, this is also something I can say, yeah, it's maybe suitable, but maybe something in between. That's probably how they will chart, so to say. And yeah, so we just did that to check if this high expectation would make sense. Because if we say, okay, we expect maybe $16 per ACA token, then we say, okay, there will be 4 billion market cap. And if we check that to currently projects with a 4 million market cap, we will say, okay, then it has to be as big as this and that project. And I don't think it will be that big. So in my opinion, $8 for the most positive, the most beneficial scenario for the ACA token is suitable. Alright, so now we have our price expectations, and again, this is just the expectations we're taking. So the expected market cap divided by the circulating supply, which will lead to $5.60 per ACA token. Alright, and lastly, where we take a quick look at the social sentiment. So we are checking how many Twitter followers the project has, what's the GitHub activity, and how many Telegram users does this project have. Because if the projects have good stats here, that means that they have a lot of community that is backing the project, and that means that there are a lot of people that are, well, interested in this token, in the utility of this token, and that would amount to a positive, to a buying pressure on the token, which would raise the price. So here you are looking for the greater numbers, and all in all, I just evaluated a score here for the project. It's 8.5 of 10, because I was saying, okay, Akala has a reasonable value proposal, it has a big community behind them, and also the developers are very active on Twitter, and they have a lot of big investors. So I'm pretty yeah, I think the sentiment is pretty good for this token. So all in all, what does that mean for Akala? And this is where we finally come to the top part here, which is basically the conclusion. And this consists of 3 different aspects. First of all, the rewards, the sentiments, and then an overall rating I give to this project. If we are taking a look at the rewards of Akala, I think you can expect around $24 for every dot you contribute. To put that in relation here, it is not that much. What you will see in the next videos is that for the other projects, the expected rewards tend to be a bit higher than those that you get from Akala. And how did I calculate the rewards? Well, I was taking the expected allocation per dot times the average of our price expectation, which then again turns out to be $24. But if we look at the rewards section here, we can see that in the worst case scenario we will get, or we expect, about $10 in rewards, and in the best case scenario we can actually expect about $35 in rewards. So, but it's important to note that please don't think this is not the actual rewards you will get. You know, in the end it will be a bit different. So don't expect this to be 100% accurate. This is just my expectation on how the rewards could look like if everything goes according to this analysis I did here. And then coming to the sentiment, I gave it a double plus, so the scale here is from nothing to 3 pluses, and I gave this project a double plus because it actually has a very strong value proposal. You can see it got a free foundation grants. There are a lot of institutional investors are backing it. The project got an active community on Twitter, and also developers are very active on Twitter. So from this metrics, I expect that a lot of people will use the utility that Akala provides, and this is important because the more people are going to use the ACA token, the better will be the price, so to say. And then all in all, I concluded with a rating. So the scale here is from D, which is the worst you can get, to a AAA rating. And for Akala, I rated it as a single A. And why did I do that? Because in comparison to the rewards you will get from the other projects, they are they're on the lower end of the spectrum. Let's say it like that. For investing, the rewards are the most important part. You want a good return on your investment if you lock your DOT for 2 years. But the sentiment is really good, and if the rewards would be a bit higher, so maybe if you expect Akala to have a higher price, maybe like in the $8 range for the token, and then you can expect about $35, then I actually would upgrade this to a AA rating because the project is actually very strong, and in my opinion, Akala will play an important role in Polkadot's future ecosystem. So, all in all, to conclude, this is what you can expect from the Akala crowd loan. And if you want to join the Akala crowd loan and you want to get a bit more rewards, then I encourage you to use my referral link in the description below. So if you join via Parallel Finance, you will get an additional 5% on your allocation that you will get in the end. So, having said that, this video got pretty long. I'm interested if any one of you actually watched it to the end. And please feel free to leave a comment below on what you think about this analysis. And yeah, I guess I'll see you in the next videos.